Mr. Jose and the Rabbits, which is written by Montelefa Sampson and directed by Nadia. So let's start with those. What was memorable, what was meaningful for you in Jose and the Rabbits? Yes?
Every time when Jose get angry because she's pronouncing his name wrong.
Yeah.
And yes, that was memorable.
Okay, so you enjoyed that moment, yeah?
Yes.
When Mr. Jose was sleeping on the chair, and then they thought he was dead, but he was just sleeping.
Oh, that Mr. Wiki Wiki, wasn't it?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, okay, great, yeah? Yes?
When they were arguing which way to go, north or south.
And they were arguing about where to go. Okay, yes, so the north and south and the signposts and all of that. Yes?
It's vegetable. He is vegetable.
Oh, vegetables.
Yes, the meal that he really hated. He was so desperate for rabbit, yeah?
That part when they're sitting together, they were telling them a story, trying to make them as one.
Ah, okay, good, yeah. So that message came across to you strongly at,
Yes,
in that
yes.
story at the end, yes.
The part when Jeremy turns into the strong, brave rabbit.
Okay, nice, yeah. Great, is that everybody? Happened it, yes?
So they excluded the one rabbit because he or she wasn't the same color as the rest of them, and then they made the brown rabbit not feel nice, gray rabbit not feel nice because he was different. But they were all brothers and sisters, but they still treated him differently.
Yeah. Okay, so that theme came across strongly in that exclusion of that character. So, what are the questions that you'd like to ask your audience about this play in terms of how they received it?
The questions that I have, guys, was the first one is, did you understand or follow the story?
Yeah, Kat?
Partially, and I'm not sure if this is as part of the excerpt that we were shown. There were, I guess this is partially the directing thing as well as the scripting because I couldn't quite tell whether or not Mr. Jose was an animal or a human being. Because I thought, okay, no, Mr. Jose is an animal. And then I was like, no, a human being, they're cooking in a pot. And then it was like, no, but, yeah, so there was a clarification that I needed about Mr. Jose. Because I understand he eats rabbit, and he likes meat, and I come from Botswana. My mother doesn't believe it's a meal unless there's meat on there. You can give her a Vienna, and then she's like, okay, I've eaten, but like no meat, no meal. So there was I could get that, but I didn't quite understand what Mr. Jose was, and why they only ate rabbit. Like, where are they? I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm sorry, Yvette. I'm jumping forward, but where are they?
Okay.
Do you want to answer?
Okay, it's fine. You understand? Okay.
You can also hang on and give it later if you want.
Yes,
if you want to
yes.
just
I
stay
think
with
it
your
will be
questions for the
better
moment,
that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else who wants to respond to Did You Follow the Story? Yeah?
The story, it was that you could see when they were going to the next scene, or like when the chicken was telling the story, you could follow what was happening. You could see this is happening now, the monsters here now, this is happening. Yeah.
Okay, great. Anybody else on that question? Okay, do you have another question?
Okay, the other question I had, I think he already asked me about the characters. That did they understand the characters? Let me put it out there because it's did you understand all characters, guys? All the characters. I know there are rabbits, I know there's Mr. Jose, there's Mr. Wiki Wiki, there's Cocolicious. All right, did you understand all those characters?
Okay.
you see who's Mr. Wiki Wiki? Could you differentiate between Mr. Wiki Wiki and Cocolicious and Mr. Jose?
Yes, John.
And John John, yes.
Okay, sounds like people can differentiate between them, but Hadamine, you were sort of shaking your head in response to that, so what was your concern?
I didn't know what the. I heard that they were called in different names, but I couldn't grasp what they were about.
And when you say what they were about, do you mean what they represented?
Yes.
Or what? Okay.
Yeah, who they are.
What were the questions that you had about them? So, was it about whether they were sort of villains or helpers, or was it about what kind of questions did you have about them?
Like Mr. Weekly. I wasn't sure who he is and what kind of a who he is.
Yeah.
I did understand the characters because they did like put the voice of the animal into it. So like if it was the chicken did say kukulukuluku. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'll answer it, but in the way that Hadamine said, I can tell you who the characters in the play, but I'm not sure, and I don't want to make a question, but so I'll hold it, but I wasn't sure of, like, so John, ye ni John, like.
Did you want to say something? You're back. You, Cockney?
Me?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, like to explain what the characters were.
Yeah.
John was a snail, Cockly, and then Mr. Wiki was like this wise guy who knew like wealth people, and then Cockly was like this vibrant guy who just can't shut up and tends to know everything, and then like the different rabbits had different personalities, as in like the one was like for example Sissy was like the nice one, and then you had people like Goomba who didn't actually want Ginger as part of their group.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have any other questions for the audience?
No, but the gentleman.
Yeah?
I have a question, but with age.
Yeah, that's fine.
I want to ask you, how do you feel like when you acted like rabbits? Feeling?
Yeah?
It's a different, yes, but the first is Zafiador. Is it's a interest, yes, very interesting. But my first time to making to animals, but I like so much. Yeah, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Obrigado.
Yes?
Ma'am, I just want to ask, is that the full story?
No.
Because it looks like they in the end, they happily ever after.
Answer the question, man. That's not the end.
No.
It's a question.
Okay, so do you have, I mean, we're already in those questions. What are the other questions that you have? Yes?
I have a question to the writer.
Yeah.
What inspired you to write this piece? Where does it come from? The history of it.
Sorry, guys. It's just I knew this question would come. I knew. When I was applying for this festival and looking at the style of the play, the kind of the play they wanted, I felt like it was a challenge for me. I wouldn't necessarily say I was inspired, but I saw it as a challenge, not an inspiration. So I said, I need to write a play for children using animals because I have never done it before. So I said, let me explore, let me push myself, let me know how it feels like to be a child again. So I allowed myself to be a child when I was writing these things. So basically, these are the ideas that came when I was writing these things. So I wouldn't necessarily say I was really inspired. I was just, trying to grow, exploring, challenging myself, pushing myself. All right.
Thank you. Yes.
I just want to ask, in the end, will the people get the rabbits like to eat or not?
Not, no. In fact, they do go to another trouble, because immediately after I asked them, where we ended now in the extract, that do you have anything to say to your brother? They still continue to reject him. They don't accept him after all that. So they continue with their journey, but they end up getting into trouble again, in which Ginger comes to their rescue again. All right. In which way they realize the importance of the tale that Cocolicious was telling them. Because of what happens is he gives them a tale, and then they kind of like undermine it and remain stubborn. So at the end, somehow, that tale becomes the truth when Ginger saves them, where they were pinned down in a cave. All right, Mr. Jose and Swarnos end up, getting them on a corner, but Ginger saves the day and becomes their hero somehow. Yeah.
Yeah, Kat?
Okay, going back to the question, where are they? Where is this?
It's somewhere in the jungle.
Yeah. So it's not specific in the script where it is. So we set it in kind of like some a forest environment in the mountains in the forest, in the middle of nowhere.
Just run with your imagination.
Yes, definitely.
The jungle on the African continent, in the world, in Australia.
Anywhere.
Okay.
I know you want to put it into.
No, I mean, I could. And I'm sorry, but
Sorry, in my mind it's set in South Africa. And Mr. Wiki is a hippopotamus. So you don't see much of his character in his extracts because he sleeps through all of it, but he's a hippopotamus.
and I think that's what the reason I'm asking where are they is for the existence or the appearance of certain animals. Because John for me was a Komodo dragon for some reason. Like John was a Komodo dragon, not a tortoise, not a snail. He was a Komodo dragon. And then I was like, but why would a Komodo dragon be in the same place with like gray rabbits? And if it is wherever, then I failed to get that because it was still believe this rather than forget everything you know and just dive in. And who's it for? Question, sorry.
Well,
Age group?
This is the question I asked you immediately when I read the script. And I guess it's still a question that we're trying to settle on, or that you're trying to settle on, but I think in my mind it was for 7, 8, 9-year-olds, so kind of lower primary school. But I'd like to bounce that back to the audience and ask, what do you think? What age group would it appeal to? Would it appeal to you as a 7, 8-year-old? I think it's a bit older. Certainly the cast, when we had this conversation with the cast, there was a sense that it was lower primary school. Yeah.
Does anybody want to comment on that? Lower primary school? Do you think that would work for lower primary school? Yeah?
Yes, because it was funny and it was so accommodated everybody.
Okay. Chandra, you said to say earlier, you were asking a question.
The title of the play, it sounds something similar to something else, like a book. Is the play like something that you made up with another title from somewhere?
No, in fact I changed the title after I started writing. Because I think the first title was, I think it was Mr. Jose, or it was just only the rabbit. I'm not quite sure there. Then when I started writing it, I remember I requested Jacqueline if I may change the title And then that's where the title of Mr. Jose and the Rabbits came in, because I have learned that the story was revolving around those two. So I was like, okay, let me just call it Mr. Jose and the Rabbits.
But the title sounds so familiar to me. It sounds like a book I've seen or something.
I'll have to scan it in case I don't want to be sued.
Are there any other questions? Okay, Kat, you've been saying a lot. I want somebody else. Not that I don't want you, it's just that I'm looking at this group up here in the corner who are, I know, you've been fantastic, but it's all those people behind you. Hey, don't you have a question?
Tired, sorry.
So have you literally, like, you just shut down, right?
She's not awake, we listening.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll give it a go. Try and wake up in there a little bit. Yeah.
Why did you select those animals?
Why did I? They came with the creation of my characterization, because I was weighing the scale that I want somebody who can be fast, somebody who can be slow, somebody who can be loud, somebody who can be low. All right. And then I tried at the same time, especially for hippopotamus, snail or tortoise, if you want to make him a tortoise. I looked at their behavior. Now, look, you're talking to your friend now.
Oh, no, it's the same.
Yeah. All right. I looked at their behavior, the way they walk, the way they, if they can match with kind of pace I'm trying to create. The hippopotamus, it struck me as a very gigantic thing, and it never bothers anyone most of the time. So I saw it as an animal that cares a lot. And then I felt like Mr. Wiki can fit for this kind of character. All right, Cocolicious, chickens, if you can chase it here, it's very blabbly and it's loud and that, and it's the first thing that wakes us up in the morning, and it's always on time. And then I felt like this character can bring life into this play, hence he does wake Mr. Wiki up, which is what chickens do. All right, yeah.
Thank you. So opinions now. What opinions do you have? And remember, we're going to offer them as the subject first. What opinions do you like to offer? Yes.
And I did say to the students it might turn into the cat show. I would like to offer 2, if not 3 opinions, but 2 definitely. 1 on the animal selection and 2 on the text. And I think they go together, unfortunately. I worked with Beautiful Creatures, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Beautiful Creatures, which is a production. I used to do their marketing, and I watched the show 5,000 times because we do 3 shows a day. But the thing with Beautiful Creatures is there was music that helped move the story along, and then there was text that kept you within the story. So when the Hadida, I don't know if people in Cape Town know what a Hadida is? No? Yes. But yeah,
very loud bird, yeah.
But the Hadida was put into Beautiful Creatures, and to this day I know what a Hadida is simply because of a lesson to children. So I would task you in finding a way to get the animals to inform what they say, rather than giving words to an animal. I felt it was too texted. It was too texty for me as an adult who was also trying to imagine a 7-year-old or even my 3-year-olds who I teach who can't sit through a 5-page picture book. So I think words.
Okay, you guys are going to have to just try and contract our statements a little bit because Tanda has to go shortly. And we're actually going to need to jump to the last play and then come back to the middle one for that reason. But also we just don't have a huge amount of time, so let's just try and say what we've got to say in as short and concise a way as possible. But thanks for that, Kat. Are there any other opinions you'd like to offer? Last opinion on this one, if there is an opinion. Okay, yeah?
Can I ask a question?
Yes, if you want to ask.
Why wasn't Mr. Wiki Wiki an owl? Because you know the owls are always wise and stuff.
Because I have seen a play that has that before, so I wanted to be different.
Okay, great. Yeah?
Before the play started, you said there was for 4-year-olds, 8-year-olds. So why did you?
There's another one. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I have
Yes?
an opinion
Yes.
about the performance? I really would love to congratulate Jose and Cecile, this is not their first language, and I think they did amazingly. Jose was desperate to really get into his character and act out and still have to deal with a language he's not used to, so well done, guys.
Yeah. Okay, right. One last, okay, Tokoya.
In connection to that, I think it's really nice how the main character's name was the same as the actor's name.
Yeah.
Because I was surprised when he was saying, I thought you changed the title or something because that was his actual name. So I think that was nice.
It was a lucky accident, wasn't it? It was lovely.
And it's amazing how when you say Jose, it sounds so similar to Juicy suddenly.
Jacqueline, because we need to move on to John's play now because Tando has to go. Could you just see where John is? Because he stepped out for a moment. So, yeah. Sorry. I'm not quite sure what to do. Okay, do you mind if we... Oh, he's coming back. Okay. All right, sorry, John, we're just sort of jumping around because Tando has to leave quite soon, so...
I don't have technician in the venue.
Right, okay. So we all are kind of like trying to be in two places at once. Right, so we're going to move on to the Underground Library. So what was memorable, what was meaningful, and I'm not seeing your hand yet, so I want to see I'm not seeing yours either. Sorry, I want to see somebody else, yes?
The how they put in the importance of books and knowledge.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, time?
Yeah, it was memorable when what's it called? Yeah, when that Chinese guy dies. Like they got his cake and all of a sudden it's just gone again.
The one that was the one with the samurai sword, the stick, and the one when he was talking about the samurai. Okay, great. Yeah.
Yes. It was memorable when the person was speaking on the phone with the robot. And they say, please wait over there, we're coming.
Yeah, and I think all have that experience of talking to a machine and they're not doing what you need them to do. Fantastic, yeah? That's it.
I found the final image really memorable when they were singing that song quietly and passing the books sneakily behind their backs. It was a very memorable image.
Yeah, very nice, yeah?
The contrast between the government's point of view and the English
and the so-called terrorist point of view, yeah. And for you?
What I found memorable was that the police decided to flood the homes, but then on the news they said that the terrorists did it.
Typical distortion, hey, by people in power, yeah. Yeah?
I loved hearing a Zambian song they play.
Great, is that your comment? Okay, great, yeah.
I found it memorable when they actually jumped into the underground library because that's in the title.
Okay, yeah.
Since I like reading, I like the importance that was placed on not only preserving books, but preserving information as in general.
Yeah. Kat, I'll let you go. Okay, you've got nothing to say, it's fine.
I would like question memorable. What I found memorable is just thank you for that story. Yeah. It's like 4 words now.
I just want to say I was really impressed with the way suspense was created. You know, it really kept you.
Yeah, I was also really impressed because it was a very long read in comparison to some of the others. And yet I felt like everyone was really sitting there giving it attention because they were really, in the suspense of it. Okay, good. So, questions that you have for your audience? John? Do you have any questions for the audience? Anything you'd like to find out whether they got, whether they... what they thought about a particular moment or a character?
Yeah, it wasn't too wordy. I feel like we needed more action. I feel like there needed to be more sword fights. Yeah? Yeah, more action.
How many... nod, for those people who have given up on speaking, nod if you agree with that. Shake your head if... Okay. All right. Other questions from you? Tandu, do you have any questions about? John?
Do you guys trust the government? What are you going to do about it? Our government. So what are you going to do about it? Protest? Strike?
Don't stick with the word never. They just lie. They tell stories to
The government, we don't trust it. Why? The president is married too much wives.
Let's have some questions from this side now. What questions do you have about this story? What questions do you have about what you saw? Were they think, yeah? Yes.
What made you like make a story like that? Was like just like what inspired you, no? Like to.
Kind of watching the systematic destruction of the education system. Yeah. You have whole provinces that are like not getting access to textbooks. You have a curriculum that is chosen from a very Western standpoint that doesn't speak to most of your experiences, which is almost deliberately aimed at alienating black and colored learners. You have a proposal on the table right now from the Department of Education to make one textbook for every subject, not multiple textbooks, not multiple options that teachers can choose between to try and find the right one. So you have, right now, we are sliding to a place where we want all the information controlled. You have the censorship board claiming that it should have the right to censor YouTube and web content. You have a lot of really scary things happening right now. We have a huge political relationship with China, which allows its citizens almost no freedom of information or ability to find anything. All this is going on. That's kind of what inspired me, and that's this is kind of the bleak version of what we could be seeing in 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah?
So the book was to help us realize the significance of books.
Yeah, significant not just the books, but about learning yourself. Anyone watch The Wire?
No.
Wire. Brilliant show. And one point, one of the characters says that what they really fear, what everyone in power really fears, is a black man with a library card. Because they're scared of people taking control of their own education. So it's not just about like reading about stories. It's about you guys being able to access information yourselves. Like books are brilliant because you can pass a book from person to person. It's untraceable. Anyone can crack open a book, and the internet's doing that too. You can go on the internet and learn how to do anything. Yeah. So it's not just about reading the books, but it's about wanting to know more, wanting to be able to find out more, find out how to do things. Yeah.
Up here?
I just want to know, like, what
what were you expecting? How were you expecting the audience to react to that?
Oh, it's a tough one. I hope that the elements of action and stuff excite them, and I hope that they also decide that get inspired and get angry. Really, I think that's the thing, is to get angry a little bit about what's going on and what could be going on. The play doesn't have a happy ending if you go all the way to the end of it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
I have a question to John.
Yeah.
During the directing, we changed who was male and who was female because of the cast. Do you think that lost any translation or any intention that you meant to put across?
No, not really. For me, it was very important that the main character be female, be a girl character, because I don't think there are enough positive girl characters in theatre shows. So that's one of the reasons why I had that.
The main character being Lexicon, is that, or the main?
No, the main character being being Kanya.
Kanya, okay.
Yeah. The girl who kind of like comes in and then takes the big action, who is played by, Good job. Thank you. Yeah, so that was the only thing that really needed to, that was very important to me. Everything else I think you could swap quite comfortably. Yeah.
Yes?
What made you choose to write the story about books in specific?
He's just said it. He's given quite a long answer about that. I don't know.
Actually, have a longer answer.
Yeah, I'm sure you have. Okay. All right, Kat.
Question, yes? We're on questions right now.
Yes, we're on questions. Yes.
All right. This might seem, and I'm going to do this deliberately, how does it feel being a white writer writing a play predominantly against whiteness and white privilege?
How does it feel? Okay, to be honest, this is something like I've questioned a lot. Do I step back from things that I don't think I should be writing, that I don't think are my life experiences and my world? But then what you get is like sort of like a segregation of artists. White people writing white stories and black people writing black stories. And the thing is that we should be writing each other's stories. The problem is that I'm coming from obviously a centralized point of power where, as a white male, I'm always like, well, not I, but white males are always writing from everyone else's point of view and stealing it and things like that. So it's very, very difficult. Fraught politically, and I don't think I'm going to ever find a true answer or even be satisfied with an answer myself about doing it. I just feel that this is kind of a story and a political issue that should be raised amongst the youth, and so I'm going to do it because, and I'm going to deliberately try and play against things and make sure. Like one of the only other casting notes I have in there is that Lexicon cannot be played by a white man. I think everything else, can be swapped because you don't want that the one voice of authority who suddenly who knows and saving books to be played by white, because it's just going into the symbolism that is constantly being thrown at everyone. Yeah. So yeah, as a white male, I'm just trying to acknowledge my privilege and tell a good story about politics that I'm passionate about. Yeah.
Okay, so opinions. Do you have opinions that you'd like to share with us about this play? Yeah.
I think the play was brilliantly written, and thank you so much for writing it. And also we had an awesome director, so thank you very much for directing the play. I had a great time and I've learned a lot, so thank you.
Any other opinions? I'm ignoring Kat. Kat can give his opinion at the bar later, John. Yeah?
Can I give an opinion about the play in general?
Yes, that's what we asked.
That was quiet, that was very quiet. I will watch a movie like that. It's like, it's quiet, I mean, like how they shoot and stuff. Yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
So if it was story.
Yes.
I rather advise you to also show it to the other guys also so that they can start reading books before like books start disappearing.
Thank you. Yes?
I could like picture everything in my head, what they were saying, where they were.
That's great. Okay, thank you so much. And now we're going to move on to the last. So, Space Rocks, you've only got a director here. Oh, you've got a question.
Basically sorry, not standard. I'm so old. Grade 11 in matrix. At standard
8.
Yeah, no, 9 and 10.
Standard 9.
Yeah. 9 and 10. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Tandro. Sorry I know you've got to rush. Thank
That's your message from Jason.
Okay, so last one. We've only got the director here. The playwright is Tamara. She was with us for the first part of the week, but she had to go back home. So, Jason's going to be sitting in and trying to relay perhaps some of Tamara's thoughts and questions and things. But let's hear it from you first of all. What was memorable, what was meaningful about Space Rocks? Yeah.
It reminded me of me back in the day watching Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Sitting in the chair, and I just went back to 19, wake up. 2004, 2005, long day, just watch TV and like you're exploring everything. You imagine it, that's like really happening.
Great. Fantastic. What else? Something specific maybe, or something small? Yeah.
When Nikita said that you can't touch the button, she was screaming to not touch the button, only for emergencies.
Okay, yeah. It's created quite a lot of tension, didn't it? We kind of know that button's probably going to be pressed at some point. We're kind of waiting to know when that's going to happen. Great, yeah?
I like the fact that they gave each planet a certain personality. And for me, it made me think about my niece, like that she would actually learn the order of the planets to that. Because I was counting the planets, I actually moved from the first one to the fourth one and I actually learned something new.
Yeah.
What was memorable for me is that I never saw Tyler act like a girl before, so the whoop part and so that was like memorable.
Okay, yeah.
What was memorable to me? When I was still young, same age as him when I was playing the character there, I also used to go to space at a younger age. Yes.
Yeah,
This
so
was
you
memorable.
really identified with that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, in the back.
Ma'am, what I will forever remember is when Tyra said something and then there's muscles.
The mountains.
Yes.
Okay, yes, Jacqueline.
I found the villains memorable. I found the evil voices and the character.
Yeah, I'll throw one in as well. What I loved about the writing was the combination of the sort of facts about the planets with the mythology. I loved that sort of combination of the Roman and Greek interpretations of the planets and how that was then translated into the scientific fact and connected to it. Anything else which was memorable or meaningful for you? Yes.
I don't know if it has already been said, but how there was this phrase love conquers fear, and how such lessons were taught as the story moved on. Like the way these footnotes that were really important that were told in the story.
End of your sentence?
The footnotes that were important, but came out as the story moved on.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Good. So now some questions. Do you have questions that you might want to relay via, for tomorrow, or your own questions that?
Well, what I'd like to know is if, like, in your own imagination, if you were given the task of designing this play, in other words, sets and props and lighting and sound and things like that, I just want, like, has anyone got any cool ideas of what they would do with this? Because we chose to present it with us just standing up and saying our bits in character as much as possible and sitting down. Tomorrow has some specific design ideas, but I thought I'd just ask you guys, anyone got any cool ideas for how you might represent a planet? It's a challenge, yeah?
Costumes, fly costumes.
Fly costumes, cool. Yeah?
That time when that guy wanted to cry when they called him a monster.
I would like to see the set designed with circusy things. With people actually flying through the sky.
Yeah. Like the inside of a spaceship where all the controls are.
UFOs.
Jupiter that had all the moons.
Yes.
So if the moons were children, giving the planet the bubbly cool thing.
Yeah, feeding him,
yes.
giving him stuff. Cool.
Okay. Yeah. I think all the planets should have really round styrofoam hoopjes with racks sprayed with the right colors.
Sounds fantastic.
Like a face in a, yeah.
Yeah?
I'll put like a huge giant cardboard box, maybe like a cut into a TV screen or something. Then the children sit down with maybe a remote. Then like they use sound effects like they go into the TV like and they into the spaceship and visiting the stars. Like in the background it'd be like dark spaceship.
Very nice. Yeah.
It would be nice if like this whole background here would have like stars, because even when you're in the spaceship you would just see stars and then the planets, and when they're interacting with the planets that the stars are there.
Very nice. Yes.
Yeah, then for Venus, you can just use a diva.
Diva.
Attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where we should put the audience in different zones to get that statement, or I'm being too difficult. Yes, like
moving the audience.
the zones of the planet, they should put us in different zones. We should see that, okay, now in which one and which one.
That's a great idea. So, if I take it a bit forward, we could have a large open space like a hall and put seats in different zones that are in the different orbits of planets. So some audience members might be constellated around Mars, and they'll be given like red blankets to put over them because it's the hot planet, and some around Venus, and they all get hand mirrors. Or that's a cool idea. Yeah, we could integrate it, make it quite interactive. One more question was, so I told you it was from 4 to 8 year olds. I was thinking more like 5, 6. What do you guys think? Yeah? Who goes more like the second half, from like 7 and 8, and who goes for the earlier half? Put up your hands if you think 7 and 8 year olds. And put up your hands if you think like more 4, 5, 6 year olds. It's pretty much half. Okay.
Okay, so
thank you.
somebody put up their hands for 4, 5, 6. Why? Yeah?
Because
Oh, I wanted to explain something. I think it should be from 8 going down. Reason being, those early ages, those ages, that's why we have this mentality of want to go to space. We wanna explore more out. We wanna bring space in this earth, which without thinking. So I think we should use the age knowledge stakes, yes, from 8 years to 4 years.
Okay. On the edge, yes. It's you, yes.
I choose like 4, like 6 and down, because like when you growing up and you're that young, you, how can I say, you like over exaggerate, like when you someone in that character, then you like example you want to be Bonnie, then Dora, then Mickey Mouse, so like that, so.
I think it should be 4 to 6, 4 to 7, because around about that age, everybody, most small children will think of everything as talking. So since the planets are talking, it would only make sense that they would understand, because if you were a teenager and you're watching this, you would think it's so silly because you know that planets can't talk. So 4 to 6, 7, yeah.
Okay, I think 4, 5, 6 around there, because around that age you start asking questions like what's space, what are planets, and I think it's just a perfect way to explain what everything is.
Okay, we'll take one last one up there, yes.
I say 5 to 6, because if you look at the piece, Jojo is 5. So it does resemble to what, I mean, it does go to the age description. So even though when I was 5, 6, like I had a vast interest in, like learning and knowing with the outer space and so forth. So I go with 5 to 6.
Okay, interesting. And often the age of the characters is an indicator to some extent of, who should be watching. Okay, so questions from you guys now. What questions do you have for Jason about this play? Was there anything that wasn't clear, or anything that you wanted to ask more about, or, yeah?
Tyler was with the other boy there, and Tyler was like the mother, I understood that, but the other boy, who was he? Because he came to Tyler and was like, no, we must let him adventure and all that. Who was he?
That was Mr. Ra, the teacher. And he's supportive of the kids going off on their adventure, and he's the one who's taught them all about space. We realized there is a strangeness, like how does the teacher suddenly rock up in their bedroom? But there is a line where he says, Mr. Ra will be here very soon to do the inspection, but I think that got lost. Yeah.
Yeah?
I have a question on like, what were the children exactly? Were they human or were they objects of Earth? Like,
Who are you?
There was 2 aliens there. What happened to them?
Sorry?
The 2 aliens then. There was 2
Vortex.
Yeah.
Well, just the point to which you got at the extract, you didn't see what happened to them. They come to a sticky end. But there are elements of space, voids and vortexes and things like that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to ask the writer, like, what were your intentions of writing the play? Like what? Like, were you telling a story or something?
I asked Tamara, and she said what inspired her was her son. At the age of 3, he's in a different system of education. So they have a theme every term, and they learn according to that theme. So their maths will be linked into that theme, their English, science, biology. And this little 3-4-year-old came home and he could name all the planets in order. And he became obsessed with space. So she used space to kind of teach him about other things as well. And that inspired her to write a play relating to the same themes. But what she's experiencing with her son right now is separation. He wants to go out and explore the world, but he also wants to be with his mom. And so there's this kind of, where do I go and how much do I pull back that she's observing in him? And this is why the kids want to go on this adventure and this exploration, but Mother Earth wants them to stay, but she knows it's good for them to go. And while they go, they learn these lessons, and the planets teach them all these lessons as they go. So she thought, cool, the planets have mythology and stories, and each planet has something to learn. So that's what inspired her to write it with this particular set of characters in mind.
Thanks for that question. Good question, yeah?
Do you think this play needs props?
Do I think the play needs props? Yeah. I have considered this. I think it can be done comic book style, which I'm very fond of, where there are no props whatsoever and everything's made using the actors' voices and bodies. On the other hand, I'm also a puppeteer, which means I'm very attached to objects, and I think it could be done fabulously well. The aesthetic that Tamara wanted was for all the props and things to look like it had been made by children. So, you know, when a planet comes in, there's a long pole with a bit of fishing gut and a planet, and it hovers there, and all sorts of kid-like stuff. And that aesthetic appeals to me because with the technology of, say, a puppetry company like Handspring, or we could make that look like that, but function in really fabulous ways. So I think it could do both. Yeah.
Yes? Okay. Was there somebody else on the side? No? Were there any other hands? Okay, so then opinions. Yes, correct.
It was hard for me to understand the play because it was difficult to act like a 4-year-old and like imagine what they think. And,
Okay. Did you, I mean, if you were finding that hard, did you let go of that and just watch at some point? Okay, good. Yeah. Somebody else, an opinion? Yes?
I rather advise you to view this to the younger age audience so that girls, you know, because for me, these things, they don't like work anymore. I'll view it, yes, in the beginning, but when you start to get into the story, like she said, like you start losing it. And yeah, so I think you should view it to the younger guys. Maybe they'll enjoy it more better.
Any other opinions? Yes?
I'm stuck. I found it hard to understand Tyler's character because I didn't think he portrayed the characters that when he was changing characters, he didn't portray it well.
He didn't?
Not for me.
I think he did quite well.
Not for me.
In your face.
Okay, so it's a very tough thing to do. And Tyler had what, 4 characters or something? Yeah. It's a really tough thing to be able to play, you know, very distinctively different characters, and I think that he did very well given the very short time of rehearsal. So, yeah. Yes.
I think it was good the way you started off by telling us to go back into being 4 years old and stuff. Yeah, that made me feel good.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad about that. I want to just ask, because we haven't been asking this question recently, and I'm opening this question to any of you actually, about would you like to see these plays go forward? You know, we were asking when we had more time in the discussions before, I was asking the writers and directors what were your next steps from here. I haven't been asking that question, I realize, today very much. So if you want to answer that question, you know, what are your next steps from here? That'd be great to hear. But also, do you think these plays deserve to have a life? Do they deserve to go forward? I'd love to hear somebody just explain a little bit of why or what, you know, particularly they feel. Yeah. It's up to you. You can answer it any way you choose.
I think this one that we just saw is
Space Rocks, yeah.
Space Rocks. It should go for it. I think it should, because it has this entertaining aspect to it, and that it's intended for children. When it carries the most important messages, it would be perfect. Because you know, children have a short attention span. So if they're seeing something that's really interesting, where they're seeing space rocks and having fun, it's not something that's like a lecture or something that they have to go through, and they wouldn't lose concentration because they're always engaged and it's exciting, especially if you were to incorporate the costumes and all those ideas that they brought to this movie.
Thank you. Somebody else? And you feel free to jump in if you want. Yes, time.
I say they should all go through because most of them have a really good message in them. Like I know in Space Rocks where I had to turn to the characters and give them the message. I'm not sure the Underground one, it had a message about how books are really into it, and I can't remember the last message in the other one, but
Well, I think the sticks was
Yeah.
really the intent. So, you know, you can break a stick when it's alone, but when you put it into a bundle, they become harder to break. So you've got to stick together. We've got to look,
thinking is don't give it to a 4 and a 5-year-old because the man said that we must think with 4 or 5 or something, and I couldn't sit still.
I promise you, I've sat in many, many, many audiences with 4 and 5-year-olds, and if the play is good, they will sit still. They do sit still. I've seen very engaged 4 and 5-year-olds all over the world, so it does work. Yeah.
I like the underground library. I think that one should go through because teenagers, they don't really read books anymore. So yeah, I like that one. And if that was like a series or something, I'll watch it also.
Okay, great. Yeah.
I think everything should go through because the writers spend a lot of time putting it together. So it would actually be a shame in a way to keep it and to just throw it away where you can use it and because there's a lot of messages in that could help a lot of people. So it would be good if it went was displayed itself.
Thank you for that. And I want to ask you one last question then, just particularly to the young people, wherever you happen to come from. Have you learned things through this process this week? Do you feel like you've learned more about theatre, about... And have you enjoyed that? Yes. Good. Well, it's wonderful, and we've really enjoyed working with you. So thank you so much for being part of this. And I really want to say a huge thank you to Jacqueline for all the incredible organisation that she's done to make it work. And also to Nadia and to Ongezwa and to Victoria, who's not here right now, but who are all Assatesh staff as well as being wonderful directors and things. They've also been very involved in making all of this happen. So thank you to them as well. We've got some Musenberg ladies who would like to say something. Yes.
And all directors and writers for actually exposing us to this amazing experience and considering our school as worthy of being a part of this project and this festival.
Thank you.
On behalf of Musenberg High School and all the aspiring artists amongst us, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity and the things that you've taught us, because I'm sure many of us will take it for the winners. And thank you.